The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen. Thanks for joining us. However, wherever you're doing so, hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. If you're listening to us from the Midwest, we hope you are safe. We've heard that there's a storm hitting the Midwest, hitting the South, and it is. I saw some photos. I mean, it looks. There's a photo of a guy, a worker. This fountain had froze over. Like, honestly, like the whole entire water. Frozen icicle. It's huge. And this guy's in the middle of the fountain trying to break up the ice for the water.
What?
Dude, it looks absolutely horrendous, unhealthy, and unsafe.
Huh.
But that is where we are at with...
well, they're not... those folks aren't used to dealing with cold and snow.
In fact, Dallas and Detroit's game has been postponed because of weather. Weather concern. So they're not going to be playing tonight, actually, Dallas and Detroit. So that's kind of where we're at in 21. So hopefully everyone's doing well and safe and happy here on 106 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. Hey, Eric, we had a bunch of texts that we missed yesterday. And I want to hit on a couple of them if that's okay. Don't forget, we will get to Utah State stuff. Yes, we've heard the news of Boise State fans, 900 of them. There is an allotment of tickets going out to Utah State. I believe those are for parents or players' families is what those tickets are being allotted to. And then we also, Eric, I think we need to voice our opinion on a certain tweet from a certain staff member from Boise State's wife who went out on Twitter and went off on Twitter. So maybe go over that and much, much more here. Welcome to the Full Court Press, 435-339-0321. Again, 435-339-0321. Again, we apologize for missing all these great text messages. 5763 had texted in. Was last night's potential NBA Finals matchup a preview of the NBA Finals? Potential NBA Finals matchup, a preview of it. Yeah, you could say that. I think that's fair to say. I know that Joel Embiid was not a part of last night's game, but Ben Simmons, you saw what he can do when they're not catering to Joel Embiid getting touches like crazy. I would say it's a preview, but that also we obviously got to be cautiously optimistic as Jazz fans as well.
Yeah. Cautiously optimistic, I think, is the right term. We've been kind of whining a little bit that the Jazz aren't getting as much national respect as perhaps they deserve.
Yes,
but man, SportsCenter was just falling in love with what Utah has been doing lately, and multiple references to the Jazz victory over Philadelphia. It was fun last night watching SportsCenter.
Eric, let me ask you.
And listening to some of the stuff today, too.
Why is it okay that when the Lakers are the number one team in the West or number one team in the NBA, no one says a word? Now everyone's quiet, all is right in the world.
They don't say a word. That's all they talk about.
Well, okay, so it's all love and there's no anger. But when the Jazz are the number one team, well, no, that just can't happen. We can't have the Utah Jazz being the number one team in the NBA. That's just, no. And then all of a sudden, it's not just one team, Eric. It's the whole NBA Twitter world coming right at the Jazz. You guys still suck. We haven't beaten anybody. Well, wait until the playoffs, and you guys couldn't even beat the Nuggets last year. Why is it that when the Jazz are number one, everybody hates the NBA? Or everybody in the NBA is all upset and up in arms? Help me on this.
I don't know. I think there's a narrative that, unless you're in a big market and you're a sexy place to play and have exciting things to do when the game's not being played, I don't know, Ajay. I don't know why it continues to be that way. But certainly, if your franchise has not won something, then there are people that will always hold that against you until you do. Houston, they have championship banners. Los Angeles, they have championship banners. So there's a lot of Chicago, New York. I mean, there's a lot of places where they have championship banners hanging in their rafters. Mm-hmm. So they feel like, hey, we at least saw it happen once. We knew what it took once. We had the right formula once. So that gives us some cover to say this. Now, for why they keep dogging on the Jazz, I don't know. I mean, just watch them play and look who they're beating and how they're beating them.
Yeah. 9474 asks a great question. Who is the one team that you would want the Jazz to avoid in the playoffs? Mine is Denver. I think Denver has a mental hold on Utah just like the old James Harden lead Rockets used to as well. Denver's a good one. I'm still terrified of the Lakers, though. With a healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron James, I don't care if he's 80 and in a wheelchair, it still scares me. That Lakers team can come at you in a lot of different ways and beat you in a lot of different ways, and they're still really, really good. I'd say the Lakers for me are the one team that, and let's be honest, they're the one team that is going to stop Utah from getting to the NBA Finals. Jazz are going to the finals because of the Lakers.
Wait, is that a not Ajay Salvesen guarantee?
Hit the alarm. Hit me the alarm. Okay? All right? This is what I'm doing for you. And you can thank me, Jasper, because you know how this goes. Okay? These guarantees always go sideways. That's right. Hit it. The alarm. I guarantee you, everybody, the Utah Jazz will not make it to the NBA Finals this year. I guarantee you.
Wait, how can you go on and on about people hating on the Jazz, and then you go on, you hate on the Jazz too?
No, I'm not hating on the Jazz.
You're not saying they're going to make it. You don't believe in them.
No, I'm saying that the Lakers are a better basketball team. Ask Tony Jones. He thinks the Lakers are a better basketball team. Ask anybody. Skip Bayless? Scott Van Pelt? Rachel Nichols?
Well, let's ask Adrian Wojnarowski.
Oh, jeez.
Listen, this is a formidable Jazz team, and this is a team that's really been built to play a lot of different styles. They've got size, they've got shooting, they play elite defense, and they've got a good home court advantage in Utah, in the altitude, in the postseason. Those are all things that you like your chances with, and they have superior coaching in Quinn Snyder. But certainly we've seen this Jazz team in recent years, get out to big starts, not quite like this, but you've seen the depth of this team really shine through, and obviously Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert playing some of the best basketball of their career.
Okay, now go to Stephen A. Smith and why he doesn't think it's a long-term success for the Jazz this year. Huh? I'm just saying.
Stephen A. Smith's take was so ignorant of the facts. He didn't care. Don't let the numbers get in the way of a good argument.
3426 Ted texted in yesterday as well. I dare to say that the Jazz this year have the best bench in franchise history. Numbers, minutes, and overall reliability. Eric?
Boy, I'm definitely inclined
it's
to
hard
agree
to argue
with that.
Yeah. It's hard to argue with that 3426. This is a really, really good bench. Clarkson had 40 off the bench, man. 40. Come on. People are freaking out because they're like, oh, Ben Simmons had 40. No, Ben Simmons started and nobody else touched the ball. And Embiid wasn't on the court, or else Ben Simmons probably has 10.
I mean, Tobias Harris had a good game too.
Oh, yeah, Tobias is always really good. Really annoying.
But how many times have we seen this where somebody against the Jazz, one player has like a great night, and the national media will be like, hey, that one guy had a great game. But let's not mention the fact that it was in a losing effort.
Yeah. They do that a lot, by the way. 2417, hey, the bomb is dropped. That's right. You heard me, everybody. 9315, how does Ajay spray out both sides of his mouth? Is that possible? Why does Ajay like to eat crow? Listen, I have never felt more confident in a guarantee. I feel more confident than when the Jazz and the Braves were both up 3-1. All right? When I said I guaranteed that both teams would win, I really meant that both teams would lose. I didn't feel fully confident. This one...
So you think that the Lakers are the only team really standing in Utah's way?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the only team standing in Utah's way. Yeah, nobody else can beat the Jazz, I think, in a 7-game series except for the Lakers. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in losing to LeBron James. Everybody's done it. You just can be part of the victim now. It's like what Kobe Bryant did to the Jazz. LeBron James is going to do to them as well.
Which Kobe Bryant? Young Kobe Bryant that airballed a ton of shots when the
One
Jazz swept
series,
them?
so he loses one series, and that's all you guys can do is just put out the one series. Not the 4 years in a row he kicked the crap out of him. Let's ignore that, okay, where he pretty much split that team apart by himself. You guys pick one series. His rookie year, that's really reaching there, I'm telling you.
Just, saying. It happened. It's history.
It had happened, but do you know what else happened? It's Kobe Bryant freaking whipped him up and down the court for like 4 years straight in the second and first rounds. And by the way, he never trailed in those series, in those three or four straight years. Never trailed in that series, at least in regards to games.
So after last night, Utah is still number 1 overall. Philadelphia is still the number 1 team in the East. Jazz beat them. Milwaukee is number 2 in the East. Jazz beat them twice. Brooklyn is number 3 in the East. Jazz lost to them. Indiana's number 4. Jazz beat them. Boston's number 5. Jazz beat them. Knicks, they're number 6. Jazz split with them. Charlotte's number 7. Jazz beat them. Toronto's number 8. And Utah's not faced Toronto yet, have they?
No. So far, I played in the second half.
Okay, so that's a very strong record against the top 8 teams in the East.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
In the West, Lakers, Jazz haven't faced the Lakers yet. Clippers beat them once. They'll play them twice this week. Phoenix. Did Jazz play Phoenix early? I know they played them in the preseason. I'm trying to think if it was if they played them in the regular season or just the preseason.
Oh, I have that answer for you here coming up. I'd have to look really quickly. I think they have played Phoenix once. I believe so here. Nope, they haven't.
Portland?
They have not played Portland either. Am I crazy? They haven't played Portland either.
San Antonio?
Sorry. So they have played Portland. Beat them 120-100. They played.
That was game 1, wasn't it?
Yep. They played Phoenix in game 4 and lost 106-95. They then played. They played each of those teams once. They won't play either of those teams until the second half of the schedule. They played San Antonio once. They beat them 130-109 at San Antonio. Do you remember when we used to struggle at San Antonio where we hadn't won there in like 15 years?
Ages? Yes.
And now we win there on a routine basis like it's nothing. Kind of crazy how time changes.
Denver?
Yeah, they played Denver.
Split?
Did they split with Denver? Survey.
They lost twice.
Yeah, they beat Denver. Nope. Just kidding. I lied to you.
They split with Denver. Didn't they play them twice?
I only have one. So, look. I'm doing this on the fly here. Denver, they lost 128-117. And they did beat them 109-105 at Denver. Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. So they got 2 more games with them, or 1 more game. I guess no 2 more because they're in their division.
Well, I don't know if they're doing that on a shortened, pared down schedule to get to 72 games. I don't know if it's 4 games in your division or not. And then Golden State. Jazz blew out Golden State.
Yeah, 108 was the final in that one, and they played them. I think they played them again, too.
I thought they'd only played them once.
Nope, you're right. They've only played them once. 127-108 winners. So they got to play Golden State, San Antonio, Portland, Phoenix, Denver. They're going to have a heavy case of the Western Conference coming up here in that second half, aren't they?
Lakers?
They haven't played LA yet.
No. Well, they will next week.
Yeah, next week will be their first game.
Yeah.
Boy, that's going to be a good one. Hey, how about this? And I totally forgot about this. Guess who's on pace to be the head coach of the Western Conference All-Star team?
Well, right now it would be Quinn Snyder.
It is.
The team with the best record in the West.
Yep. And how far are they ahead? Half a game?
They're ahead of the Lakers by 2 games.
So if they beat the Lakers next week, assuming they split the series with the Clippers this week, or sweep.
You and your splits.
Because don't assume you're going to sweep the Clippers.
You like doing splits.
The Clippers are a better basketball team than the Jazz are. The Jazz are still going to beat them this week, but the Clippers are a better basketball team. Anyways, you split with the Clippers and you beat the Lakers next week. He's officially the head coach of the All-Star team going into that All-Star break. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be okay with that.
That would mean that you'd be okay with that game taking place.
I'd be okay with him being the head coach. I think the game is meaningless and it doesn't need to happen and it's incredibly unnecessary.
Did you hear about the mayor of Atlanta today?
No.
Issuing a statement. If you're not part of the festivities, don't come. We don't want bar owners or club owners to do these parties. We don't want to have extra festivities going on.
Good.
Just have the game and go home.
Good. And you know what? I think the players are okay with that too. Let's just have the game. Let's get out of here.
The NBA is arranging private travel for each participant. You arrive there. You're there for maybe a day before.
Mm-hmm.
You do all the stuff that day, the three-point shootout, the slam dunk contest, all those things wrapped up in the before or halftime kind of events surrounding the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
Then when it's done, go home.
And you know what? Those players aren't going to hesitate. They're going to get out. They're going to leave immediately. Good for them. I like that.
Oh, you'd think so. You'd hope so.
But
that game last night, Ajay, for the Utah Jazz, there were stretches there, especially in that first quarter. They've had the last couple of games kind of a slower starts, but then they figure it out. They don't panic. They eventually somebody starts to get hot, and they spread the wealth. But Jordan Clarkson was just unconscious.
Oh my gosh, 40 points on what was his shooting line? Do you have it? I mean, that's impressive. Like, just having 40 points off the bench alone is really incredible. And I think he hit 6 threes?
8.
8. He hit 8 threes.
He was 8 for 13 from beyond the arc. 6 for 7 at the free throw line, finishing with 40 points, 2 steals, and assist. Great effort. Now, yeah, there were times where the defense wasn't really that great. Ben Simmons was able to get loose and go get downhill way too much. Nearly got a triple-double. Tobias Harris had a double-double, 36 points, 10 rebounds. But outside of those two guys, not a whole lot of help. I mean, Dwight Howard had a little bit going for a stretch. But not a whole lot of help outside of those two main guys.
No, and someone asked me, does Joel Embiid being in the game change the outcome? It makes it closer, but I think the Jazz still win. Do you have Rudy's line?
Yes.
I didn't even look at his line, actually.
11 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks.
Whew. It's good. Do you put an asterisk next to some of these wins with guys sitting out? Joel Embiid was out.
Does anybody put an asterisk next to their losses against the Jazz when Mike Conley's not playing?
No, but Mike
Conley... Or when Joe Ingles didn't play?
No, okay. Don't,
or Donovan Mitchell didn't play?
No, Eric, don't compare those 3 guys to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's an MVP candidate. Joe Ingles is sure as heck not. Mike Conley's not even close. Donovan Mitchell's not even in the conversation. We're talking about an MVP candidate. That's different. Like, Joel Embiid missing from the Sixers is a heck of a lot different than Joe Mitchell or definitely Mike Conley.
Joe Ingles had 20 points last night for the Jazz.
Good. I'm happy.
24 just the other night.
That's great.
You can't say he's not an impact player.
He's not an MVP candidate. You can't say, "Oh, let's put an asterisk because Joe Ingles didn't play." No, I ain't buying that at all.
The disrespect for Australian basketball players is real from Ajay.
Dude, don't tell Joe.
No, you don't put asterisks on these. Look, is it an ideal situation? No, heavens no. But look, there's going to be injuries that happen all the time. This wasn't a COVID thing. This was back tightness. And interestingly enough, Joel Embiid has back tightness whenever he has to go up against Nikola Jokic. He has back tightness whenever he has to go up against Rudy Gobert. He has back tightness when he has to go up against Anthony Davis. He has a history of having these mysterious ailments when he's going up against one of the premier big men in the NBA.
Interesting.
It's a habit.
And no Anthony Davis now coming up. That's gonna be a huge loss for the Lakers. That's huge. Like that's what 25 and 12 is what you get from Davis. I mean, that's gonna be hard for. That's hard to have to deal with and have to overcome for the Lakers. And so if they beat the Lakers, great, but you didn't beat a healthy, fully ready to go Lakers team.
Yeah, Jerry Sloan. I remember this clear as day. I can't remember who it was. An opponent they were facing. Really good player wasn't going to be there. Had an injury, and somebody was asking him, "Hey Jerry, are you excited? You're happy? You should be able to have a little bit easier time tonight against these guys." And he was mad for the questions. Like, no, I don't want anybody thinking that we were able to beat them without their main guy. I want to play them at full strength and have them play us at full strength. Which is, you're right. That's the way it should be.
Sure.
Nobody should be excited about some other player on the opposing team being hurt and not being available. Nobody should get excited about that.
Yeah. No, it's true.
But does it give another team an advantage? Yes, it can.
Yeah, especially if it's Embiid or Davis. Absolutely. 5763. Professional sports teams are not allowed to put asterisks on any games, ever. Period. You win or you lose, no excuses.
Amen.
Amen.
I like that.
That is well said, 5763. And I think, you know what? Like, you look at the local college basketball aspect, I think if, like, Coach Smith could have made 50 good reasons why Utah State lost to BYU. Instead, he just said, we just got outplayed. We just got outplayed. Because I love Petey. I love Coach Eric Peterson. He's going to be a head coach really soon. But if Coach Craig Smith is on the floor running the sidelines, I think Utah State wins that game. It's a different aspect of having a brainiac like Coach Smith who knows Coach Mark Pope, who can raggle the refs a little bit more, yeah.
And knows how to motivate his players properly.
Oh, absolutely. And again, not saying that
whether
Petey
that's
doesn't,
out of motivation, go get him, or out of fear.
Going to get it, yeah. Or, yeah, there was some definite, I've seen some of those cases. Or, I think, was it last year against Boise State, speaking of which, at home, Sam Merrill's weighing Estes night, and Sam, I think it was 40 seconds into the doggone second half, gets called for an offensive foul, gets his fourth foul, I believe. And Coach Smith loses his mind on, it wasn't Dave Hall, I can't remember who the ref was, but got a technical foul. Just stuff like that. I mean, it's a way to motivate them. 9835 with Anthony Davis out means that LeBron James cannot take his usual night off in Utah like he has the past couple of years. That's true. That's absolutely true. And they will have played, it'll be like their third game in 5 days. So he'll have a day off. I would imagine he'll play just because it's the Jazz, number one team in the league. You want to get kind of, if you're in MVP conversation, you got to go out there and you got to beat that team. That's how it's got to be for LeBron.
9315. I want to get back to this text.
Shoot.
What will Ajay do for Eric when the Jazz are in the finals?
Okay. So we actually got to discuss this because I got my Boise State gear at home.
I'm going to follow up with that.
Okay.
Did you keep saying
No, sorry.
You have your stuff.
Have it. Yes, I have it.
To make do.
Yes, I have it. I'm sorry. I've been a tad busy. I apologize. Do you want me to wear it to Boise State tomorrow? I'll do it. I'll wear my Boise. No, I won't.
For something that doesn't have the same impact if you wear it there.
Doesn't have the same impact. No, sorry, I have that. I will put that on next week. I'll be gone after today. I'll be gone for the rest of the week. So I'll put that on next week, and we'll have a ball. And we can not take photos. Remember, no photography or videos is allowed. I've had my agent.
We need some semblance of proof to satisfy our listeners that you actually came through.
Your word is all the proof that these wonderful listeners, they are your sheep.
So they won't mind if I tell them that you're wearing pink pony outfit today?
Watch your language.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen here on the Full Court Press, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. Recapping the Utah Jazz win over the Philadelphia 76ers last night. The top teams in the NBA squared off against each other, and it was the Utah Jazz winning by double digits yet again. It's uncanny what this Utah Jazz team has been able to do to start the season. Can it be maintained? Is it a fluke? Ajay, I think when I look at the teams that they're beating and how they're beating them and beating them in different ways, it's not a fluke.
Yeah, it's not a fluke.
It's great coaching.
No,
it's great depth. It's great talent.
And by the way, we're not giving enough credit to the Coach Snyder.
No.
Nobody's giving enough credit to him.
Good point.
He has been so magnificent in coaching rotations, trusting guys to be on the court. Just an outmaneuvering. I mean, you're talking about Doc Rivers, Brad Stevens, who he's overrated and he sucks anyways. But Eric Spoelstra, Mike Budenholzer are two very quality coaches. Like, yeah, Snyder's not getting near enough credit right now of what he's done.
No, it was a tremendous performance off the bench by Jordan Clarkson. But several other guys I thought had really good nights as well. Donovan got cooking in the third quarter. And Royce O'Neal got going in the fourth. Had some really big shots. Look at his stat line. 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. I mean, the guy was doing almost everything you needed him to do on the court. 3 for 7 from beyond the arc. Bojan had kind of a rough night shooting the ball, but he was still trying to do things to make himself important and engaged with what was going on. So, great game for the Utah Jazz once again. Did you see the Ben Simmons quote after the game about when they put Rudy Gobert on me defensively? I thought that was
here's what the problem
awesome.
was. I mean, he can say that. Here's the problem, is that Doc Rivers, about 15 minutes before Ben Simmons, had said, our plan was to be able to set up matchups where we could get Gobert guarding Ben Simmons. That's what he said. And then Ben Simmons comes out and goes, it was pretty disrespectful that they had Rudy Gobert guarding me. Hey, you moron. That was your coach's plan,
That was your
idiot.
team's game plan.
Oh, hello. Yeah, that was... Dude, Ben Simmons, here's the thing. Okay, someone tweeted out something really cool. I don't know where I could find it again. But someone tweeted out something really good. Mike Conley. Man, Donovan Mitchell's awesome. Donovan Mitchell. Man, Joe Ingles is awesome. Bogdanovic. Man, I love Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert. You know what? Our team is just really, really good all together. Jordan Clarkson. I love Donovan Mitchell. Ben Simmons. Man, I am awesome. Like,
that's true.
The Jazz
he was going on and on about changing his own mindset and being more awesome.
The Jazz are we, and Ben Simmons is, well, I should be Rookie of the Year this year. Ben, it's your third year. Yeah, I'm still should be Rookie of the Year this year. I've done enough. I'm the Defensive Player of the Year. You're like last in blocks. Blocks don't matter. No one cares about blocks on the defensive side of the ball. What do they care about? Shutting down your guy. You got 40 points scored on you. Well, no one cares about that. You just said, but okay. I can't. Look, I used to hate Draymond Green. I actually turned around and liked Draymond Green a lot more. But this little turd named Ben Simmons, someone needs to flush it down the toilet because it's been around too long.
9315, is it crazy someone can have 40 points from mostly three-pointers? In today's league, no.
No.
That's not.
Steph Curry's done that several times.
But it was an impressive shooting performance by Jordan Clarkson. I thought he'd hit 9. He still had lots of time in the game to get that 9th three-pointer to break the Jazz record. Never happened, unfortunately, but
And you know what else is kind of
crazy game for him.
Joe Ingles has scored 27 points, 6 times. That's his career high. He can't get those 2 points to get to 29. Just can't get it. He scored 27 6 times. And there's a curse to get to 29 for that guy.
3426, best bench in franchise history. Numbers, minutes, overall reliability for Quinn Snyder. Not to mention only 4 players in franchise history have ever come off the bench and scored 40 points.
Yeah.
Thurl Bailey was the last one to do it, and that was back in 1988.
Yep. It's pretty impressive. This Clarkson guy, man, he's your runaway 6th man of the year. Someone argue with me and tell me different, and you better have a good argument. Because no one has impacted their team coming off the bench. Number and stat-wise tell you everything you need to know, like Jordan Clarkson. It's just, it's impressive. And he's doing it consistently, man. He's doing it consistently.
Yeah, he is.
40 points in 29 minutes.
How's that for efficiency?
Yeah.
9315, can we send stuff in for Ajay to narrate for us? That was awesome how he read those tweets.
What tweets did I read?
You were giving your interpretation of the Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
And the Utah Jazz players and how they think about each other.
Yeah, sure. Fax it in. Let's get it. It's in. I think my best work.
We received carrier pigeon as well.
I think my best work has been Captain Craig Smith. That's been some of the listeners' favorite material. They love that stuff. You want me to do another one? Because he just tweeted out something. I can do another one for you.
Nope, that's okay.
Dude, our ratings soar when we do Captain Craig Smith stuff. And I love Captain Craig Smith talk.
Did you call him Crapton?
No, Captain.
Craig Smith?
I did not call him Crapton.
You just called him Crapton Craig Smith.
No, don't. I don't want people tagging the guy on Twitter calling him, saying I called him Crapton. Don't do this, Eric. You remember the one time?
We have the receipts.
Hey, do you remember the one time you called Jason Shelley the greatest, better than Eric Weddle? I still remember that. You called Jason Shelley better than Eric Weddle. Piranhas remembers.
I did not call him better than Eric
Yes, you
Weddle.
did. Yeah, Piranhas remembers. He don't hold back either. Piranhas will hit us up and remind us. Anyways, no, hey, impressive stuff by the Utah Jazz. Hey, big games tomorrow. I mean, there's big games this week. Clippers twice. Tomorrow night and then Friday night, both in L.A.
Well, and there's question about the health and availability of some of their key guys.
Yeah,
Kawhi
Paul
and
George
Paul
has
did
got
not
a
play
swollen
last
toe.
night, but the Clippers still beat the Heat.
Yeah, I don't think the Heat are that good. They're struggling, man. They can't find rhythm right now. But yeah, no, I mean, I would say I don't think Paul George is going to play, which is a really big shame because Joe Ingles and Paul George are the matchup that everybody in the world wants to see, including us. And if you're saying no, then you're lying to yourself, man. Everybody wants to see George and Ingles go at it again. That was a fun series.
That scrub Joe Ingles.
Oh man,
who doesn't matter, according to you.
No, Eric, don't. Okay, here you go again. Gosh dang it! Stop this. I didn't say that. No,
he's not an impact player.
No,
he said he doesn't matter.
Stop it. I said in comparison to Joel Embiid, you cannot compare the two in regards of impact on the team if one were to sit out and the other didn't. You can't. Don't do that. Stop it. And I don't want anybody tagging Joe Ingles on Twitter saying that I said that either. I'll delete my Twitter account, I swear. I swear I will. No, but always impressed with and again, this Clippers team is well coached. I mean, Tyronn Lue has actually done better than I thought he would. Got the attention of his team. Players are responding to him well. I kind of wonder if Kawhi and Paul George sit out tomorrow but play Friday. I know they have the night off tonight. But maybe they sit out one game and then play game 2?
I don't know.
Paul George's toe is still swollen, by the way, so I don't even know. He may not even play either game. Kawhi, I could see playing game 1 and not game 2. I could see one of those happening.
And how long until Mike Conley comes back?
He's got to be back for the Lakers game, right? I mean, but you're playing so well right now. Do you really rush it back? And then you got the All-Star break. And hopefully he doesn't make the All-Star team so he can just sit and rest. But man, that's tough. Would you, Eric? Would you bring him back for that Lakers game, assuming he sits out these 2 games? Or would you say, you know what? Let's just let you rest, recover. We'll see you in the second half of the season.
I think you bring him back when he's ready to come back.
But, dude, Mike Conley,
you don't rush it.
He milks that time, man. He's like the one dude who breaks a fingernail and then sits out for 3 months, and you're like, hey, when do you want to come back?
That was Carlos Boozer.
Maybe
That's
next
not Mike
week.
Conley.
Mike Conley's done that too. Because he's getting the money, he's getting paid, and he knows it.
2409. Thank you. I swear it's getting hard to tell the difference between Stephen A. and Ajay.
Oh, hey, no, stop. Hey, that's pretty good. No, that's incorrect though. That's infactual. Don't you dare compare me to Stephen A. Now, if you want to compare me to Mike Wilbon, that'd be nice. Go ahead. But I will refuse to be named or compared with Stephen A., Chris Broussard, or Rob Parker. All who hate Tom Brady.
Skip Bayless.
Skip's cool. I like Skippy.
You would like Skip Bayless.
What? Why do you say that? Why do you say
he is worse than... He has the most uninformed takes.
What do you mean have you listened to his show? He backs it up pretty good with numbers. Now, Shannon Sharp sounds like an idiot. Shannon Sharp's all like, my name's Donkey from Shrek, and I have no idea what I'm talking about because I do no research. Skip does his work. Max Kellerman's annoying. I'll take Mike Wilbon or Skip, but not Stephen A. Please, I deserve better. I've treated you better than that, listeners.
Hey, coming up a little bit later on here on the show, there's news coming out of Boise about fans at games and a venue debate, which turned into quite the hot topic up in Boise. And just really a lot of whiners up there.
Boy, we went trending over there in Idaho, didn't we?
News broke on our show. Then it was dealt with in a more formal manner today, or at least confirmed. So we were breaking all kinds of stuff last week, and it's just been continuing since then. We'll get into that, what both coaches had to say about fans at Boise State. We'll replay this clips from John Hartwell that kind of set off some of this stuff. And about Craig Smith getting an extension. There was no formal announcement, and the news kind of broke here on the Fan. And USU officials are like, oh, I guess we probably ought to say something more formal about that. So we'll get into that. That's all coming up on the Full Court Press. Stick around.
The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools, the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Favors, hands to Clarkson. Clarkson will fire a three. Oh my, Jordan Clarkson is shooting at a hula hoop. Clarkson is 9 of 12. He's got 6 threes.
That was a fun broadcast to listen to
and
to watch. Either way, you consumed the game last night for the Utah Jazz.
You know what I love doing, by the way, and I think I've said it before, it's just watching the game on TV, but then taking the audio from 106 on the Fan and just listening to that and just syncing it up. It's so great. Because you get the great details from David Locke of what he's seeing and numbers with it, and then you get to see the game in itself. I mean, it's just awesome. So I'm grateful we get to air those games on our station. That's been fun to have.
It is fun. There will be some games. The games later this week. The Clippers.
Both of them we won't air, will we?
Well, they're going to try to join them in progress. They start later, and so They'll be a little bit delayed joining them from when they really start. But we do have some Skyview games going on, the last games of the regular season. But we're hoping to be able to join the Jazz in progress Wednesday and Friday in their 2-game series in Los Angeles against the Clippers. 3426 texts in. They think 900 people is going to change the outcome of the game as much whining as they do. Instead of Boise State Broncos, it should be Boise State Donkeys. Yeehaw.
I will say this. When I was thinking about it, 900 isn't, obviously 1,600 is a lot more than 900. But just the energy for those fans to be able to attend that basketball game in such a big, monumental series, it's gonna bring some energy and juice into that arena a lot. And it's gonna be a huge spark for the Boise State Broncos. I'm gonna be honest. That is a huge spark and a shot in the arm for the Boise State Broncos. It's a very passionate fan base. Coach Smith talked about it. Going to Boise State last year with the packed house, and it was very loud. So even with 900 fans who have not been able to see a Boise State game in person yet, and now get to go to the biggest series of the year without a doubt up to this point, it's going to bring a lot of juice, Eric.
Yeah, it'll make a difference. That team hasn't been able to play in front of anybody all year. This will be their first time to play in front of anybody.
Yeah.
Utah State's benefited from being able to play in front of their home fans all season. But what really annoys me on this whole saga is that they're so petty in Boise over this. Like, they think that Utah State somehow is bending some rule to allow fans in their arena.
Yeah.
And yet will fight with every tooth and nail and fiber of their being to not allow anybody else. That's not the case. It's not what it's about.
That is spot on.
It's just, look, the local health department here has their rules allow gatherings like this.
And you know what? They've been safe. Here's the thing.
It has nothing to do with any other venue.
Goes to the local and state health department and says, hey, this is what we're hoping for in fan base. They get it approved. They've laid out instructions, guidelines, and rules, and the fans at Utah State have been wonderful in following them. Let me make something extremely and very clear to those in Boise State listening to this show, or who might after this is over, or to Aggie fans all around. I want to make something incredibly blunt and clear. John Hartwell is not scared of fans. He is not scared to have Craig Smith go play in front of fans. He is not scared of it. Craig Smith is not scared of fans. Craig Smith is not scared of going to play a game in front of a road game in front of fans. Let's make that very clear. This whole idea of that John Hartwell and Craig Smith do not want to go to Boise State and play in front of fans because they're scared of them is an absolute flat-out absurd joke. Well, and if you have that idea, then you are more incredibly incompetent than I ever thought any human could be.
Which is regularly being left out in the discussions in Boise is that UNLV also opposed to moving venues. Everything's being laid at the feet of John Hartwell and Craig Smith here. UNLV also chose not to, did not agree to go to that other venue. So
why aren't you tagging UNLV in your little rants over there in Boise?
Why aren't assistant coaches' spouses going after UNLV and their ADs and their coaches?
And not only that, but then one of those spouses tags Mr. Hartwell in that tweet. Again, I make this so darn very clear. John Hartwell is not scared of you. He's not even close. He is confident in his decision making. He knows what he wants, and he has a place where he wants to get to with it. You saying that he's scared of sending his team or Coach Smith's team to Boise State to go play in front of fans, again, is just stupid. It is so dumb. I love what 5374 just texted in. Says, Boise scared? They bring back fans only when USU comes to town. Yeah, why do we all of a sudden make like this conceited effort to say, hey, we really have to get fans here? No. We really, really, really need the fans. Please. Why all of a sudden are we like just pushing it through, like, wow. And then who are you as the Spoutsman assistant coach to go out there and tag Mr. Hartwell in that tweet and call him out like that? I mean, sorry your husband wasn't successful here. I feel bad for him, but don't take it out on Hartwell. He wasn't the one coaching the team.
I think part of it is that, look, Boise has had to play in some different venues, non-venues on school campuses. Now, Utah State's had to do that too, and they've traveled and had to play New Mexico and somewhere different. So I think from Boise State's perspective, look, we had to play San Jose somewhere different. We play them in a rec center, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So we were willing to make an adjustment for a venue there. Why can't Utah State make it an adjustment for a venue request? I want to play John Hartwell in his entirety for that segment, hear it straight from his mouth again. But as much of it was about, look, there's uncertainty about the protocols that could be in place and what needs to be done for a college basketball game. And does it really make sense to go play in one venue one night and a different venue another night when you're in the same town? That just really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't. And again, and I'll let you play the clip, but yeah, again, just remember this. Mr. Hartwell, John Hartwell, our athletic director at Utah State, is not scared of you, Boise State.
Yeah, we were asked about it. I guess it was 2 nights ago. Well, I had a message and then I got an email request, and as did UNLV, who was playing there this week. And at the end of the day, it wasn't about not being around fans. Our challenge, just as everybody in our league and everybody around the country is facing, it made no sense at all for us to go to Boise to play in 2 different arenas. I mean, again, we're trying to stay as protected and as much, I mean, I know it's an overused term, but in the bubble as possible. And I understand their desire to have fans, and, they were asking to play in Nampa, which obviously is a different county, different guidelines, but it made absolutely no sense to us to say, hey, we're going to go and play Wednesday night in one arena just so we can have some fans, and then we're going to go play at the Extra Mile Arena on Friday night. And we just said, I talked also to UNLV about it, and both of us just said, no, that makes no sense.
John, let me ask you, what's that relationship like with the conference on those types of discussions? Does the conference involve? Do you have discussions with the office there in Colorado Springs, or is it just kind of left up to each team to figure this out? Well,
they help to facilitate the conversations, and at the end of the day, a request like that. I mean, if it was to change, a tip time from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. or something like that, there we have a process to go through to do that, and normally no problem with stuff like that. But a total change in the venue, a week out, and a venue that has not hosted any. They've hosted some events in there since COVID began, but no collegiate events, and clearly the guidelines and restrictions are significant and different. Probably more stringent in collegiate athletics than in, say, a knife show or, some of the other things that they've had in there. We just did not think it was a good idea. We let Boise know that, as UNLV let them know that too. And so both of those games next week will be at Extra Mile Arena.
There you have it. That's straight from what he said last week. We got to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll continue to debate it and get your thoughts right here on the Full Court Press.
Hey, did you drop the ball on Valentine's Day? If so, I can help you make up for it. This is Jarek from Jarek's Fine Jewelry. No matter where you're at in your relationship, we have something she'll love. Stop in and we'll help you pick her out a thoughtful yet inexpensive necklace, pair of earrings, bracelet, watch, or even if you're ready for the next step, with our selection of over 3,000 designs, we'll find her the perfect engagement ring. Even after Valentine's Day, it's all about the romance. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
Pamper yourself at New Horizons Beauty College. They offer low prices on pedicures, manicures, facials, and even scalp treatments. Or treat yourself to a new cut, color, or perm. All services are performed by students and closely supervised by licensed instructors. Call New Horizons Beauty College today at 753-9779. Get a new style and save on all your hair care needs. New Horizons Beauty College, 550 North Main in the Clock Tower Plaza in Logan.
Talking the sports you care about. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
There you have it. That's what John Hartwell said on our show a week ago, that Utah State was in conversation with UNLV about the venue change, and both schools felt like it was not the right decision to be made.
Nor should it be.
Look, this Idaho Center, but that place has hosted college games before. They've hosted NIT events.
They were going to move.
They know how to host events.
Girls basketball tournaments. So they can play both games there.
They can host girls basketball tournament. If they can host a girls basketball tournament, can't they host a college game?
No, they can. There's so much more to it. I'll wait till the second hour, but we got texts coming in and such, and we'll continue it.
Yeah.
I ain't done with this yet.
No, there's more.
I'm not done with this yet.
Because Leon Rice weighed in on it, Craig Smith as well. So about having fans there now for Boise State. And quite frankly, according to BJ Rains, the health department hasn't exactly signed off on it. They're just going forward.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss more coming up next hour. Stick around.
The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on not a Wednesday, it's a Tuesday.
Hey, we're all excited about Game 1 tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. You're not the only one.
I've had my week all kind of discombobulated.
Why?
Because the kids were home on Monday, and seems like today is a Monday. I don't know. It felt weird, even though I was at work all day yesterday.
Interesting, Eric.
It's weird.
Drugs. It's dangerous, kids. We got a bunch of...
Dangerous.
I wasn't going to try and look at your face, but I got a bunch of texts that rolled through, Eric. 9315, can we move the games to an indoor rodeo if they let us have more fans? But if they don't, Ajay can get rich in Boise this week selling cheese to help Boise fans. Hey, a lot of wine and cheese can go a long ways. How much credible is with Boise basketball? Nothing near like their football program. I don't think they have the ability to strong-arm the Mountain West Conference on this. Well, they don't because it didn't work. More on that in just a moment. 3426 text in, 900 at a Boise State football game is totally different than 900 at a Boise State basketball game. I've been to both places in the last 2 years. They are way more passionate about their football team than their basketball team. Talk to their fans. They're not worried about our football team, but scared to death of our basketball team. And he continues, so why don't we just move it to Pocatello and get 2 quadrant 1 wins for being on the road? I'm down. Seriously, I'm down. I'm okay with that. 2965, I honestly don't understand why John Hartwell refuses to play in another arena. What's the big deal? It seems like we have like a little whiny brother syndrome. He's just upset that Boise State controlled. What the hell are you talking about? So let me help you, 2965, and I'll do this very politely. When it comes to basketball, we are not the little brother by any means, not even close. Just look at our 3 Mountain West Conference championships. Or I guess 2 Mountain West Conference championships, sorry. It seems like we have little brother syndrome. Yeah, that's not the case. He's just upset that Boise controls the league. They don't in basketball. Has nothing to do with that. And why don't they play in two different arenas? Well, it's kind of obvious. Why would you want to go play at the Idaho Center in Nampa on a Wednesday night and then turn around and go play in Extra Mile Arena on Friday night just so you can have fans for one of those games? You wouldn't have them for both. If that would have been the case, and you ought to be grateful, 2965, if you're a Boise fan, I'm assuming, that we only have one of those games be the case, because if they would have got the original plan, it would have been Game 1 fans, Game 2 no fans. Now, you get 900 fans for both Game 1 and Game 2.
I think, not to put words in John Hartwell's mouth, and we can play a part of the clip again. We don't need to play the whole clip, but you'd have to go through certain protocols to get one arena ready. And you have to show up to that gym, spend time in that gym, getting used to the sight lines and your shoot-arounds and your practice. And then you'd have to go and change that and then go to a different gym and for the other time, for your other practice, and more shoot-arounds. And it seems like it's a lot of work.
Not only that, but there's also different testing protocols in that, because it's a different county. It is not the same county. So they'll have a different way that you got to test, or whatever the situation is. It will be different.
Yeah.
So not only that, but
it has that potential. Yes.
Yeah. So just play the two games inside of one place. You get your 900 fans. Utah State gets to play basketball, which is what they want. And we're all happy.
It's not about trying to avoid them not having fans.
Again,
it's not the
that's
issue.
Not even close. No.
And it's not just Utah State. Can we reiterate that enough? Again, this is part of the clip from our interview with John Hartwell last week.
To say, hey, we're going to go and play Wednesday night in one arena just so we can have some fans, and then we're going to go play at the Extra Mile Arena on Friday night. And we just I talked also to UNLV about it, and both of us just said, no, that makes no sense.
It wasn't just a Utah State unilateral boycott, or not a boycott, but voiding or vetoing the decision. UNLV didn't want to do it either. So can Boise State fans just chill?
Yeah,
I don't think they can. I don't think they know how.
Well, and
they want to overreact and whine.
Just the bottom line of that text from 2965, he just upset that Boise State controls the league. If that was the case, Boise State would have bowed to them and said, absolutely, whatever you need, whatever we can do to help you out. They don't control the league. And we are not the little brother when it comes to basketball. If you want to say football, sure, why not? I'll agree to it. But yeah, and again, Hartwell's not scared of anybody. And that needs, I'll have to repeat that for a long time now, which is really frustrating. But Hartwell's not scared of Boise State. They're not scared of the freaking fans, because the fans don't play basketball. They're just there to cheer. Coach Smith is worried about playing Alston Jr. and stopping that squad.
Look, does it make a difference having fans there? Sure.
Sure,
We've seen games for Utah State that they've had fans, and games they haven't had fans. And they add another level of energy and excitement in the game.
Correct. Absolutely.
And Utah State has never said, look, it's just, we've found a way to make it work here, but I don't think it's safe for you to do it where you're at. They've never taken that stance. They've never said you shouldn't allow fans. Clearly, that would be so hypocritical, it would be embarrassing. It's not about whether fans should be there or not. They're not trying to make that decision for somebody else. It's about changing venues and going to a venue that there's uncertainty. Would it be protocol safe?
Correct. Absolutely. 6891, there are some people that need to get off BSU's jock. Again, I just I get it, but I just can't wait to talk basketball. I'm so sick of this fan thing. And the thing is if the best way to shut the whole situation up is go sweep Boise State. Go beat them both games, walk out of there well in position for the Mountain West Conference regular season championship. It would quiet a lot of people over there in Boise land down.
Here's Leon Rice, head coach of the Boise State Broncos, earlier today announcing that there would be fans in attendance starting this week, despite not having a public health order that says it's okay.
And by the way, this is a conversation sort of question. It's from Rachel, and I believe she's affiliated with a news association down in Boise. And so it's a conversation type between her and Leon Rice, and you can tell that on her part, Rachel's part, there is a bit of concern to have 900 people inside of an arena, and Leon's answer to it as well.
I'll tell you, it gets your heart pumping. It gets exciting, and it's been a long season of going to empty gyms, and like I said, until you're in there and experience it, which some of you guys have been, you don't really understand what I'm talking about. But God, it'll be just. I mean, we had 11 fans at the last game, and I think it made a difference. So I'm so excited to have an atmosphere. These guys serve it. Comes at a perfect time. Again, they're going to be, hopefully a great college basketball game. You got two really good teams, and it's neat that we can have some people get to see this.
I'm sure that you would expect that there will be mixed feelings about this. It's obviously going against Central District's health order, which is limiting no more than 50 people are allowed to attend. It supersedes the governor's order. So you guys are actually defying Central District's health order in order to do that. So it's going to have a little bit of controversy. But, what makes you feel comfortable with having those fans in there and being around your guys?
Well, first of all, I trust my administration. I mean, this was not in my hands, and they're not going to do anything that puts anybody in jeopardy. I know we have a huge arena. We can spread people out. We can, people are going to wear masks, and like I said, there can be so much space between everybody, and let's all just be safe and enjoy a good night of basketball. But all the political stuff, I don't know anything about. I don't even know what you said. Didn't know if that's true or not true. I have no idea. But
it's true. I'm not making stuff up. Central District Health Order really is under 50. But we know that.
Let me ask you that then. My question: why then, when I watch some of Bishop Kelly's games, why are there?
They're also defying the health order. Oh. It's not being enforced, so kind of people are making the choice whether or not they want to do it. No, I guess.
Well, I do. Like I said, I trust. And the only time we've had fans and I felt perfectly safe was in Texas, in Houston, and and I looked around the arena and there was a lot of people there, but it didn't seem like a health risk to me. It seemed like it's a complicated
topic. Very I mean, I've got a mom who's immune compromised, and if she gets it, her doctor said she'll probably die. So, I don't want to bring it home and give it to her. I think so. It's a hard topic for sure. And we do know.
I think through all this, that what you just said probably needs to be the understanding that people have and the extra grace people have to each other, because everybody's dealing with something different, and everybody's in different positions, and some people have maybe even had the vaccine. Some people have already had COVID. So, everybody's just in different, some people have underlying conditions that you don't know about. And so, everyone's circumstances are different, and everyone needs to have empathy for everyone else's circumstances. And that includes college to college.
I agree. I think that's good.
What some people think's right for them might not be right for somebody else, but it might, but everybody always just fights for their own agenda. And that's where, so much problems and division comes. And hopefully we can just, have a good college basketball game and people get to enjoy it. And because I know people need some of that too. I know our team has been a source of entertainment for a lot of people through a lot of this tough times. And I found that out, especially like when one of our games gets canceled. It's like, it's devastating to some people. And so hopefully the show can go on, and it can go on in a positive, safe way. And I feel good about that.
So there you have it. Leon Rice, head coach of the Boise State Broncos, saying it's out of his hands, but he had some say and influence on making that decision.
All right, let me make that is
that Boise State is defying their local health ordinance in doing this. And I guess to his defense, he's like, hey, we're seeing other high schools doing it too. But the reporter says, yeah, they're in defiance.
Which tell you what you said during the bite. You told me kind of tells you where Idaho stands right now with their situation and status. About
it's the Wild West.
Is everybody agreeing? No.
Just do your own thing.
Just do your own thing. But if you get in trouble, it's your fault. Oh man, what a mess that is, Eric. Yeah, look, he's as happy as anybody that they're going to have fans. 900 of them. It will be helpful for the energy. It'll be helpful for the team. Because this is their final homestand, I guess, unless you make up the games on the open week, which, boy, there's a lot of games we made up that week, so I don't know who's going to get what.
And look, we're teasing and making fun of Boise State and how they've handled all of this, and I guess you can have your own stance on whether they should defy their local health order or not, but they're going to have fans there. And look, as we have seen in Logan, it makes a difference. And we've seen in Salt Lake City for the Utah Jazz, it makes a difference. The players like it when there's fans there. That there's somebody to give them a little excitement, a little juice. It makes a difference. So, you know what? Way to go, Boise. You figured out a way to get fans there.
Yeah.
We'll leave the criticism on whether the wisdom of that and how your local health orders are working and what that means and how enforceable they are. We'll leave that to Ada County.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their local health department.
Yeah,
but from a fan perspective, from a pure sport perspective, I think it's great that they've got fans that are going to be there. And this whole debate was not about whether fans should be there or not.
Amen. That's right.
Not wanting to play in front of fans.
Craig Smith is not scared of you fans because he's not playing you. He's playing the Boise State Bronco basketball team. And again, that assistant coach's spouse also needs to stay off of Twitter for a little bit and just keep quiet. Like, it's not her deal. It's not her conversation to be a part of. And, yeah, tagging in the AD of Utah State in her tweets was incredibly just dumb.
Stay classy.
Yeah. But are we...
Here's what Craig... I'm just saying her first name. Here's what Craig Smith had to say about playing in front of fans. This will be the first road game where the Aggies will play an opponent that will actually have fans in the stands.
No, because South Dakota was our non-conference, and I think a week before, or 4 or 5 days before, they decided not to have fans, and then in our league we haven't experienced that. So it'll be different, but you know what? Every game, it's just everything about this is different. You walk in the Thomas and Mack Arena, and you have an 18,500 seat venue, an NBA venue. And there's literally not even 100 people in that arena. And that's just really just such a weird, different vibe. And so you've experienced it. Everybody on this call has experienced it. Our team has experienced it. I think the team that brings their own energy, in terms of on the bench and on the floor, has tended to have an advantage all year. And obviously you watch the bench of Boise State all year, and they brought great juice and great energy. It's easy to see on film. And I think our team has done the same for the most part all year as well.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, and I mean, you just go in there and say, hey, look, it's a game that you're playing with fans in there. That's all it is. That's the only difference. You'll have fans on the road for the first time all season long. That's the only difference.
It helps the road team, too, by the way.
It does. And it gives them a lot. Yeah. You don't think that BYU got a ton of juice walking into 1,600 Aggie maniacs screaming at them? You don't think that fired them up at all? Like, you're crazy. And Utah State's going to take that same kind of energy. And by the way, I don't know if Utah State really needs that much more of, if I call bulletin board material, but just the talk from over here in Boise to fire them up. Like, Craig Smith will have his team ready to play tomorrow night in Game 1 at 7 p.m.
But the problem is just keeping it in check, too.
That's a great point. Don't overreact.
Don't let it get in.
Are you worried about that with some of our new guys, Raleigh and Marco? I mean, it is a different atmosphere tomorrow night. Big game. National television. Any kind of worry about that?
They've had a lot of national television games already this season.
But on the road with fans.
They've had a big game series against San Diego State already.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
6-8-9-1, 2 blowouts are needed. Amen to that.
Yeah, I love it. Good point.
3426. How about we play at Mountain Home Rec Center and Nampa Rec Center? They play basketball at both venues, and it's not in the county. We'll bring the brooms.
Hey, I like the sweep. Idea. Absolutely.
And then 9315. Can the Mountain West Conference punish them for going without health order approval?
Nope, they cannot, because it's a recommendation, not an order, or else they wouldn't have been able to do it. Period. And as we just talked about, like, it is, I love what you said, the wild, wild Idaho West over there. Got everyone kind of tuning, running to their own tune of the beat. So, yeah. Hey, another thing that was brought up, Eric, Mr. Hartwell on our show, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan, the Full Court Press. If
local radio show.
If anybody's wondering,
that's its official name.
Yeah, a local radio show. No, was asked about the contract extension from Salt Lake reporter. Go figure. And that Salt Lake reporter was very quick to jump on it. And this is Coach's answer to the contract extension that he got.
Yeah, I don't remember when exactly it was, but yeah, it was, I think, in December or November when it got finalized or whatever. But obviously, we had been in talks for a while about some things, and I don't even remember the specifics offhand, but I believe it's after this year, it'll be 5 more years in terms of the contract, and we're excited about it. We love Utah State. It's been an amazing place for my family. Not to get too much into it, but my wife and I, Darcy, have been married for 25 years, and we have 4 kids. My oldest boy, Landon, is a sophomore at Utah State. And we got Brady's a junior in high school. Carson's a 9th grader. My daughter's a 5th grader. So it's been a great move for our family. We love it here. It's a tremendous league. And we're surrounded by amazing people, and have been in this profession for a long time, 25 years at every level, the NAI level, D2 level, in various levels of Division I, whether it's high major, mid major, and low major. And this has been just a phenomenal place to live, and a great experience. And so we're sure excited to continue this journey at Utah State.
So it's exciting to hear from Craig Smith about his contract extension. And It was first learned about on a local radio station when an athletic director...
When 2 guys...
saying he's an athletic director is giving too much away. When an important figure at a local university spoke to some two guys
who are just happen to be near mics at a radio studio
somewhere in Cache Valley, northern Utah. Be as nondescript as we possibly can.
Let us know if you have any questions on the specifics. We can give you those as well.
If you'd like to know anything more specific about the details of who said what and to whom regarding someone else, and how long they may still be in this place in northern Utah.
You know what really pissed me off the most, though? I can't say that word. Sorry. Kent, if you're listening, really, really sorry. That slip. It wasn't my fault. It's been kind of a day. You know what really upset me the most, though? Really angered me, flustered me, is that the guy who asked the question was a Salt Lake reporter, and he was like, "Hey, coach, talk to us about your contract." I'm like, squeeze me at baking powder, and you want to hand me back my Cinderella shoe that you just stepped on and walked it all over, and so you can get your glory? I mean, my gosh. And by the way, we know who we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. Want to make sure.
Curious George.
Yes, Curious George. And he was very curious today about a lot of different things. God bless us.
Is it really that hard? I mean, we've done this just last week.
Yeah.
When there was somebody that said something in a paper or a publication, we said who they were and who they were with.
And
is it that hard?
Okay.
Is it really that hard?
And by the way,
just say where you got the information. Just give credit where credit is due. Is it that hard?
Well, and then not only that, but, and people are like, well, you're probably overreacting. No, because Dan Patrick 3 weeks ago had this exact same conversation on his radio show because someone took what was his breaking news and then referred to it. They referred to Dan Patrick's radio show as a network radio show. That's all they said. That network radio show reported that so-and-so and this and this and this. Next day, of course, Dan gets wind of it. Next day, goes into like a 10-minute monologue of why it's important to give credit to those who are willing to report the news. And those who are willing to not report the news, break the news out. Because let me tell you this, there wasn't a whole lot of people who knew that his extension nobody outside of the university knew about his extension, period. And then, from what I was told, there was a couple people, important people, who didn't know about the extension, or that it had been announced. And so
you and I had been talking for weeks, just curious about, because it had been coming up, how long is Craig Smith going to be here? Are they going to extend him? And before we had the interview with John Hartwell last week, you told me, look, I want to ask about an extension if they've got one worked out yet.
Yes. And
to be very clear, John Hartwell, the director of athletics for Utah State University, came on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan, during a program called The Full Court Press, with hosts Eric Frandsen and Ajay Salvesen.
At approximately 5:10 p.m.
That is where credit is due for this announcement that was broke here on this radio program. So when you read about it in other publications that vaguely reference something that was said on a local radio show without giving proper credit, you know it came here from us, and this is what was said.
Yeah, so we put together an extension that was signed back before the new year, and really what it did is it basically, even at the end of this year, he'll have 5 more years left on his deal. It was really a 6-year deal. We really didn't, because there were so many other things going on. We really didn't publicize it, but obviously, we believe in Craig, and every day, literally, that guy amazes me. And just some dialogue between he and I are both kind of late night people, so we often have conversations via text or on phone calls. Late, 11:30, midnight, when most other sane people have gone to bed. But anyway, I sent him a text the other night just thanking him, because his, being able to navigate all of this, the positivity of that guy is unbelievable. He's a guy that even if given lemons, he makes lemonade, and that's infectious. That's infectious to his staff. That's infectious to his players. That's infectious to everybody. And there's that quiet confidence. Well, I can't use the word quiet. That's not even realistic. But there's that confidence, and the guys, his staff believes in him. His student athletes believe in him. Even when we get down, there's never a sense of panic or anything, because he handles everything in such a positive manner. And that's been great through this, because it's, like I said, it's been a grind. But he's let's plow through. Even, we're on the phone 30 minutes ago, and probably at this date and hour was probably our last opportunity for Friday, kind of fell through, and he said, "Hey, we'll figure this out. Let's go." So, obviously, not the ideal situation, but he's always, let's plow through it and let's make the best of it.
So there you go. That is John Hartwell here on 106.9 The Fan during the Full Court Press with hosts Eric Frandsen and Ajay Salvesen, breaking the news. We first heard about it in a public forum about an extension for Craig Smith last week on this radio show. So to be clear, if you see any publication that references generically comments that were made on a radio show, it was here. And by the way, if we want to play that game, we can play that game, but we prefer to give credit where credit is due. But we did that last week.
But we're not going to play that game, because you taught me to be better than that. You've taught me how to do things the right way by not, as you like the word you use, is not plagiarizing, is what you had told me once, but by giving those people credit for who report that news. We're not going to go out there and take that from them. That's not our job. It never will be.
Okay, so we'll set aside our own personal grief.
Well, yeah, we'll stop the pettiness. Well,
the news is exciting, though, for Utah State.
It is.
To hear from Hartwell last week and then Craig Smith today is great news for Aggie fans everywhere who have seen great things out of this coaching staff, who have won conference championships, been at or at least qualified for the NCAA tournament, and putting the team in position to do that again. It's an exciting era of Utah State basketball right now, and Utah State's doing what they can to keep Craig Smith around. And exciting to hear him talk about how much he loves it here. Is he going to get an opportunity to go somewhere else? He probably will. Will there be offers thrown his way? Look, if he continues to have success, yes, I guarantee he will have offers.
Oh, so can we go back to the conversation then?
But if he goes, we applaud what he did while he was here.
So what do we do? I mean,
and we hope for
who's going to be the next head coach of the Aggies?
Somebody who comes soon. Do not goad me.
No, but you. I mean, who is? This is it. This is the last ride. Are you saddened?
Don't, Ajay. No, he just got an extension. He's going to be here for a lot longer. And it's good. And we've got a great big matchup coming up tomorrow.
Yep.
We'll hear more from the coaches about it. And we'll get into more detail about the matchups tomorrow. But some interesting news today about the contract extension and the fans at Boise State. We also want to get into a stat that blew our minds.
Absolutely.
And our player of the week. If you've got somebody that you would nominate for a player of the week.
Love to hear it.
435-339-0321 right here.
Hey, wait. Right here on the local radio show with two guys who don't do radio, but here inside of Cache Valley.
The Aggies are number one here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen here on the Full Court Press. Sorry, some local radio show. But the news today...
That's going to stick now forever for
news
us.
Today that Boise State is going to allow about 900 fans in attendance for their two-game series against the Aggies Wednesday night and on Friday night. Al Lewis pregame coverage will be a little bit different. Yes, you will go from 6 to 7 tomorrow, and then it'll go to Logan High basketball at Bear River. And then as soon as the Aggie game is done, the high school game will conclude before the Aggie game will. But as soon as the Aggies are done, you're watching it on CBS Sports Network, Al Lewis, John Russell will be back. It's exciting to have him. It'll be exciting to have him back on the broadcast.
Wait, Russell's coming back?
Yeah, he'll be back. He's feeling healthy and ready to come back.
Thank goodness.
Jalen Moore.
I was getting really tired of hearing you. Kidding.
I know. You finally get some good.
Stop it.
Good
Stop
stuff
it.
Afterwards. So that we'll find out how the Aggies do in game one. But the big news is that Boise State will have 900 fans there.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that they did not get approval from their local health department. They just decided we're just going to allow 900 fans. And look, it doesn't bother me. I'm not offended.
Neither is Coach Smith, by the way.
No. But Coach Rice says that he needs his 900 to sound like it's more than just that in the arena.
I have a feeling it will. Just 11 helped us last game. So I'm just excited for it. I'm excited for our guys too, because I think it'll give them a positive juice. And just, you want it to be closer to what college basketball's been. And like I said, I got DA who came back for a senior year. And can you imagine what the senior year would have been like for him? Like even this just last game, the roof would have blown off this place against UNLV. So, that's what they're missing out on. And they've been terrific. We always said that before this happened. Our job's the same, whether it's in front of one fan or 13,000. Our job is the same. And these guys have done a tremendous job of showing up and competing and playing together and creating energy. I mean, our bench has been our energy. And these guys have been awesome. So it's exciting for them to have this opportunity to play in front of some people.
And I'm excited for Boise, too. I would hope that more venues, as numbers have been on the decline in a lot of places around the country, and things start to open up more, that more Mountain West Conference schools would be able to allow fans.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a difference. It really does. So I'm glad they were able to figure something out to get fans there, and that these games can still be played, and they're going to be motivated. There's a lot of factors for motivation going into this game, the least of which are having fans in the stands. There's a first place position in the Mountain West Conference on the line here, and opportunities for quad one victories for both teams, which both sorely need them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Especially Utah State, though.
Yes.
Because Boise State has a chance to go pick up a couple in San Diego State the following week.
That's true.
This is pretty much it for Utah State. This is their last chance to dance with a saucy resume. This will really, really help if they can get one.
Absolutely. No, it's a big matchup, a lot on the line. There was some quirkiness last year that Utah State should have a chip on their shoulder and how things got handled. It was their own doing, their own mistakes. But this is also an Aggie team, Ajay, that's going to be rusty coming into this one. They've only played one game in 21 days.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard. Craig Smith today talked about trying to practice during this long layoff for his basketball team, trying to keep his guys engaged.
No, we've been going the whole time. We've been practicing. Obviously, we've had some off days. But we've been going, we got back from Fresno and we were off Sunday and Monday we were in practice preparing for Wyoming. We thought everything was a go on Sunday from the info that I had. But again, things change and you got to adjust. We told the guys after, I think it was after practice on Monday, that we thought this was probably going to happen. And it did. So we've talked all year with our guys. Our guys it's a really tight knit group, even though we are very young. But our upperclassmen have done a good job. We have 2 seniors, 4 juniors, and those guys have done a good job of just staying level-headed. Never get too high, never get too low. We'd even talk. We had a good stretch there where we were getting our games in, right? Obviously we had the shutdown in December and. We had some guys miss a couple games in December, and I missed the BYU game and our non-D1 game. And we could have chose not to play, I suppose. I think we had that opportunity, but we wanted to play. And but we knew there was going to be these types of things. Our women missed 3 games in January. I think it was in January, one in December. And we just have told our guys all year, like every day is a blessing and every opportunity to play and never take it for granted because you just don't know. And we found that out firsthand at Fresno and obviously last week. And so that's why I say we told our guys in film today, when we got the word back that we all tested negative and Boise all tested negative, that we're going to be able to play unless some unforeseen circumstance happens. For tomorrow's night's games, and then we'll all test again on what day? Thursday, and see what happens.
Ajay, it cannot be an easy task for a coaching staff to have that much time off.
Yeah.
Try to keep your guys fresh. Try to keep them interested. Try to keep them engaged. Try to keep them from hating each other because they practice hard against each other. And
if I have to take one more elbow from Bean, I quit.
Yeah, no kidding. And to turn their attention now in their game prep, trying to prep for Fresno game 2. That doesn't happen. Okay, let's start prepping for Wyoming. Well, that's not happening. So now let's turn our attention to Boise. What a crazy task for that coaching staff to keep them ready, physically active, so that they could come in and bring prepared and ready to take on a very good Boise State team tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's funny because we talked about the worry of having this long of a layoff. Coach Rice actually talked about it too. He says it's a blessing for Utah State that they've had this much time to prepare and plan for Boise State. That's what he said, man. He was like, yeah, they've had time to play, prep and plan, so that makes us worried. And it's like, dude, they played one game in 3 weeks. Like, they would rather have played 4 games in 3 weeks, 6 games in 3 weeks if they could, but. Yeah, this isn't a blessing in disguise all of a sudden. Not even close.
Yeah, I wonder if the tables were turned if he would have been calling it a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, he'd be whining and complaining that the Mountain West isn't doing a good enough job of finding a replacement game for him.
Yeah, not taking care
Our
of
guys can't have so much time off.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
Another quick timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, let's get into the stat that blew our minds and our player of the week.
Hey, and Mike Conley has got his status for tomorrow against the Clippers.
Ooh, we have a status update on Mike Conley. All right, we'll update you on that as well. Coming up on the other side here in the Full Court Press.
Local radio show.
On a local radio show.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen here on the Full Court Press. 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. It's okay. Say it out loud. Say it together.
We can do it.
It does exist.
Use your words.
It breaks news. Sometimes feelings.
Yeah. A lot more of the latter than the former, that's for sure.
Stat that blew our minds, player of the week. Love to get your nominations, if you have any, on somebody who stood out to you.
Who gets a gold star?
Who deserves a participation trophy? Before we do that, though, Ajay, you've got some news on Mike Conley.
Yeah, so he's been upgraded from doubtful to questionable for tomorrow's game against the Clippers. Now, does that mean he plays? I don't think so. But I think he will. I think he plays in Game 2 against the Clippers. But we'll get into that in just a little more because I got a question for you about that.
Let's take a look at the numbers. It's the stat that blew our minds.
He did what?
On the Full Court Press.
Wow, that blew my mind.
By the way, speaking of stats, has anybody done a check on Hurricane John Newbold and his
Dude, did you see it?
His tweet update?
Did you see it? He crushed it.
Did he?
Yeah. Oh, he's well over 500.
Nice. Good for him.
Yeah, so
Way to go, Hurricane John.
So he will be getting a jersey of Sam Merrill from the Memphis Hustle. Because he hustled him out of a jersey.
Hey, I like it.
I like it. I like it. All right. Stat time.
Okay, I have to defer because every time I start saying something, you get really mad.
That's because you cheat.
You think I'm
and you
stealing
take my
your
stats
information.
Because you look at my pieces of paper. So, because you don't come prepared. And you're like, oh, crap, I have a stat I got to get to today. Here's my stat. The Knicks had gone 183 team games without a 40-point score. Oh, sorry. Credit to ESPN Stats and Info for this wonderful stat. The Knicks had gone 183 team games without a 40-point score before Julius Randle had 44 in their win over the Hawks last night. That was the longest active drought without a 40-point score by any team. The next closest is the Thunder with 108 games.
Wow.
That's a full season and something. That's 2 full seasons for the Knicks.
Wow, yes. Julius Randle is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, too bad he plays on a crappy team.
They're improving.
Okay,
Still have a ways to go.
Here we go again.
All right, the Utah Jazz, they have more wins in their last 20 games than 27 teams have for their entire season, and 17 of those 19 wins have been by double digits. Ajay, they're winning at a pace that has been unseen in the NBA. They're winning at a clip and playing at a style that is on pace with that Golden State Warriors team that won 72 games. Or excuse me, they won 73 games, didn't they?
73, yes.
A few years back.
73 and 9.
What the Utah Jazz are doing is otherworldly. It just has not been seen in the NBA. With very rarely has it been seen.
Yeah, absolutely. My player of the week, Eric, is going to go to the great, one of the best players probably, I guess, so far in this current era of basketball. And he could tell you that he is too. Ben Simmons. Look, I know it's funny, and it seems like I'm making a joke here, but dude, they had no Joel Embiid, and he still put up 40. And by the way,
triple-double.
He didn't do it from the 3-point line because he can't. So he did it from inside, which is hard because you got Rudy Gobert, Derek Favors, got a slew of good defenders inside the paint against a good defensive team, and he put up 40 without a three. I'm impressed. I am impressed. Credit to him. Ben Simmons as my player of the week.
All right, I am going also in the NBA. I'm going with Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns. His team is playing really good basketball. They're currently fourth in the standings in the West, and really good West. But this is what he's done over the past week. 36, 5, and 8. 36 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists against the Cavaliers. 30 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists against the Bucks. 36 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists against the Sixers. And on Sunday, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists against the Magic. Guy's been playing some really next-level basketball. He's over this past week, more than 32 points a game, shooting over 56% from the field, over 47% from three, nearly 81% from the free throw line, and over 5 assists per game. He has been growing and improving every year, but I think having Chris Paul playing alongside him has really helped him develop into a better leader for his team, and he's playing some great basketball right now. Phoenix Suns are definitely a team to watch out for in the West.
Absolutely. Do we need to take another break?
We do.
Okay, let's take another break. I want to come back and get to this breaking news that came out earlier today about West Coast Conference basketball and the idea that 2 certain teams would sit out the tournament, of the conference tournament, so they can just be ready for the NCAA tournament to avoid risk, injury, so on and so forth. How would you handle this situation?
There's maybe some unintended consequences that they have not thought about, particularly for one school.
Amen.
We'll discuss that coming up next in the Full Court Press.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
It's a Full Court Press on 106.8 and 1391 The Fan.
We're getting closer.
It's progression. Baby steps, Eric.
Another publication is
baby steps.
Not got it totally right. The news broke here on 106.9 The Fan from John Hartwell that Craig Smith would get a contract extension.
Hey, by the way, my player of the week was Ben Simmons on the 40 points he had, and 6891 Texans, and they still lost. Hey, you're right, 100%. Scored 40, but they still lost, and that's what really matters in the end is the win-loss column. So, yeah, absolutely.
As Utah State fans need to remind San Diego State fans, wins are greater than rankings. Wins mean more than anything
San Diego State doesn't get it. Eric, news coming out this afternoon that Gonzaga and BYU, and by the way, this is credit to John Casano, who's a columnist for the Oregonian, I believe. He's also part of the station or the show of 750 The Game in Portland, Oregon. But he has put out some news that Gonzaga and BYU are weighing whether they should opt out of the West Coast Conference basketball tournament. Nothing in it for either program except risk of injury, bad loss, and infection. They are both NCAA tournament bound. Regardless, Western Conference Coast, is that West Coast Conference? Thank you. ADs are talking about this. Eric, for Gonzaga, I could understand. For BYU, there's a lot more to risk, right?
Are they a lock? The question here is there's whomever wins the conference tournament is an automatic qualifier. Is the West Coast Conference a lock to send 3 teams?
And Jeff Grammer brings up a great point. He says the question then becomes, should leagues be allowed to award an at-large berth to an NCAA tournament to their conference tournament winner if all their teams, in this case 2, that are likely NCAA at-large teams? Here's the problem. That would really have an NCAA tournament bubble implication, and it would affect a lot of bubble teams if this were be the case.
That's true. BYU currently is at 29 in the net ranking. They probably are a lock. I think they do have a strong enough resume. Certainly their victory over the Aggies is looking better and better all the time. But St. Mary's they're at 69 right now. They're the number 3 team. So if BYU and Gonzaga don't participate, and what if it isn't St. Mary's that wins?
Yeah.
What if it's San Francisco is currently at 100?
Yeah. And look, you erase BYU and Gonzaga, it's anybody's game. It is honestly anybody's game to get that thing. 3426 NCAA should penalize the conference for doing so and only let one automatic bid go to the NCAA tournament, nothing more. See, this is why you still need to have a conference tournament. Because of NCAA bubble teams and bids, and then it's just going to get out of control.
It will. They have nothing to lose. You have a lot to lose.
Yeah, if you have 4
you can end up
teams,
not going.
If you have 4 teams going to the, or projected to go to the tournament, then and they make it to the semifinals, all of them do, but you can't take one because you took a crappy team that won the conference tournament. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, does the NCAA say, all right, we'll take BYU and Gonzaga. You guys can have your conference tournament, that's fine, but we're just going to take these 2 teams.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. That's crazy.
And there may be other conferences looking at it. Who knows? Tomorrow, we'll get more into Utah State, Boise State, the updated brackets, where Utah State and other Mountain West Conference schools predicted. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stick around, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.